Hello everybody and welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Madalina Vlad, I'm the CEO of MBV Group, a group of companies that is dealing with setting up companies here in Romania. Of course, accounting, because we are chartered accountants here in Romania, and not lastly, attracting European funds for companies that are already here in Romania. As you are used to, I was explaining all the fiscal changes and everything related to what you would expect here in Romania. But today we'll speak about those of you that already have a company here in Romania, about the invoices that you issue. What are the most important things that you should mention on an invoice in order to be recognized recognized by our local authorities, and in order not to receive any penalty and any fee for not knowing a certain thing. Also, you will find out what are the steps in issuing the invoice and in keeping it and transmitting it to fiscal authorities and so on. So you will find useful information about invoicing in this video. First of all, you are new. You have already set up a company and now you want to issue your first invoice towards your customer. What should be the information that you should mention on the invoice? For sure, due to the fact that you are coming from different countries and you have different type of invoicing, I wanted to clarify what is important to be shown on the invoice here in Romania. And first of all are the seller's data, basically your data, in case that you are the one that you will issue to your customer. And here in Romania, you must have complete data for you as seller. Basically, you need your full name, your full address, correct identification code, fiscal identification code, correct VAT code if you have also VAT, and also the social capital that you have on the company that you set up here in Romania. As I already spoke about this in another video, in the near future, the social capital, it will be 500 RON instead of 200 RON instead of 1 RON how it is now. And for those ones of you which will have companies that exceed 400,000 RON as turnover, the social capital, it will be 5,000 RON. This is not yet approved, it's just a proposal. It did not pass on the last voting session that our government had here, but it might be taken into consideration in order not to forget about something. Now, this is the most important thing, your seller data mentioned on the invoice. After that, your customer's data, but in this case must not be so complete. It's okay to have only name, fiscal identification code, for sure address, it's really important and somehow mandatory. And if you want to mention something else, good. If not, it's okay as well. For sure, you'll have to have a serial number, a number, a date, and the VAT quote as well. Either it's 21, 11 or other VAT code. As you may know, or for those of you that are new, the VAT rate changed in 1st of August here in Romania. So these are the new VAT rates that I already mentioned. And another thing that you need to mention on the invoice is who issued the invoice. You, your employee, somebody else. Also really important to be shown on the invoice is the VAT regime. For example, if you have reverse charge or I don't know, you pay VAT when you receive the money and so on. And this would be the most important thing and complete that you should mention on the invoice. Otherwise, enough may think that it's not a complete invoice and may think that you did not issue it correctly. What are the solutions in this case? Just to check with attention the details for yourself and also for your clients. The second mistake that may attract enough fines would be not mentioning the VAT code here in Romania, on the invoice I mean. And please do remember that we have 21% the general code or 11% the reduced VAT code. Also the VAT regime, because as I said, there are companies that are applying reverse charge, which means that it would be zero VAT on the invoice, but it is this mention on the invoice, reverse charge. And also if you pay VAT when you receive the money, it's also a fiscal regime here of the VAT in Romania. Basically, you don't pay when you issue the invoice, you pay when you receive the money, and you deduct as well when you pay to your supplier, not when you receive the invoice for the supplier. What is the solution in this case? My advice would be to contact your accountant before issuing the first invoice and to consult with him to see if it's the correct form. Especially if you have Romanian accountants, they are the ones that may advise you in this direction. The third mistake that may attract fines is the lack of the serial number and the number on the invoice. Basically, if you will have a serial number, let's say MBV, and the number 100 today 29th of October. If I issue a new invoice in 10 days, I cannot say that I have serial number MBV but the number 110, because in this case fiscal authorities may consider that I issued another 9 invoices that I did not declare, which is not correct. So be really attentive to how you issue the invoices, because the numbers must be consecutive. And for this mistake, you have the first fine that is already mentioned in our fiscal code, and the fine is between 500 RON up to 1000 RON. More than this, each company that issue any document should have a decision in the beginning of the year. They should have a decision for invoicing and for the receipts. This is mandatory, and this is something that the fiscal authorities ask in case of control. So you should talk to your accountant and see if you have it. Now, you rest assured that had all the correct date on the invoice, you have all the correct VAT numbers, and you have all the correct serial number and so on. Now, what you should do, because it's also a legal obligation, is to send the invoice in the e-invoice system. That is why, in this case, I would recommend you to have an invoicing system, because it's much more easier to do this. Because of course you will have an automatic way of putting the number of the invoices, and secondly, all these invoicing systems are already connected to ANAF system, and you can send it automatically if you have an electronic signature. So my advice would be to, as I said, to have an invoicing system. It's not necessarily mandatory to have this, but if you don't have, anyway, you should send the invoices to fiscal authorities in maximum 5 days after issuing. Otherwise, the penalty and the fine might be as high as the invoice you issued has, as the amounts that you included in the invoice that you issued. So I really advise you to pay attention to this e-invoice system, because it's quite important for us here in Romania. And all the process completed, now what you have to do is to keep all these accounting documents, not only invoices, for 10 years. Basically, after 10 years, nobody will ask you anything about invoices that you received from your suppliers or invoices that you issued for your clients. This is the maximum term in which they can ask you something, and if you don't have it, fiscal authorities may consider that everything is done with no justificative documents, and they may recalculate your taxes and your incomes. The solution in this case would be to have electronical device to save all this on, to have the database from the accounting, and to have it also physically in a file if there are not so many. If there are too many, just the first two are enough to have it whenever is needed. Basically, billing mistakes may not seem so serious, but pay attention, because they can attract really bad penalties and really high penalties. I hope you liked this video, and if you have any questions or if you have any doubts about how a document is done, I expect you here and your comments here, or you may contact us on office@mdv-tax.ro. I wait all your questions there, and I hope I can answer to all of you as soon as possible.